arrived in Paris now for a crusade for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So from Paris here, France, we moved to Spain, from Spain, we moved to Austria, from Austria, we moved to Germany, from Germany, we moved to Belgium, which we campaigning, asking the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian judiciary to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. Unconditionally. That's my conclusion.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. So guys, if you're new to this channel, do want to hit that subscribe button, like, and also share this video. Guys, we have important things to talk about in this live section. So guys, stay tuned and stay to the end of this live section so that you grab the full gist. So guys, Maxwell Okpara is in Paris currently. He went to fight for Kanu's release. Yes, that's the best thing to do, seeking help internationally to release Kanu, because if you still stay here and you're saying, no matter how many judges you change, they will still be playing political games with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They will still be playing with him. So guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are focusing on one of the most significant developments in the ongoing struggle of justice, equity, and fairness in Nigeria: the renewed international campaign for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, Maxwell went to set up campaign for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditional. Yes, at the center of this movement is a human rights lawyer, Barrister Maxwell Okpara, who has just made a powerful declaration after leaving the Nigerian Bar Association annual general conference in Enugu State. Guys, you know that after the NBA conference that was held in Enugu State, Maxwell he went to Paris. Currently is in Paris, France. He went to fight for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release. No matter how they keep changing judges, the same thing that's been Tanyako started, that is the same thing they will still continue. So the best thing is to seek for international help. Go and demand for Kanu's release. Let them know. Let the world know. Let the world speak up. That is just it. So having concluded their first phase of awareness, because Maxwell Okpara was actually live in the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association annual conference that was held in Enugu. He was live. Yes, he made it known to everybody. In fact, he wanted lawyers to be aware of what is going on in Kanu's detention, like what is surrounding the rights violation surrounding Kanu's detention. So he went there to make it publicly. Although Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, talk about my case in the NBM program conference that was held in Enugu State. So now Maxwell went there. He talked. I'll still play a video where Maxwell was talking, saying that they should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, was saying that lawyers, if you're silent, you're complicit to Kanu's detention. So after that, he now went straight to Paris. Yes, he went straight to Paris. So having concluded their first phase of awareness, advocacy, and within Nigeria, Maxwell Okpara announced that he alongside with other social legal comrades, has arrived in Paris, France. Their mission is very clear: to internationalize the demand for justice by exposing the illegality and gross human rights violations surrounding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention. According to Maxwell Okpara, he said that the Nigerian Bar Association conference served as the first platform, a domestic stage, to awaken Nigerian lawyers and remind them of their constitutional duty. He called on every legal practitioner in Nigeria to stand firm, to speak up, and to collectively demand the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But that was not just the beginning. Now, the second mission was, they shifted to the global arena. Guys, Okpara revealed that Paris, France, will serve as the launch part of what he described as a social legal crusade. From there, the campaign will extend to Spain. In fact, guys, Biafrans are ready. Kanu's lawyers are ready to fight for Kanu. They want to start a social legal crusade. From there, the campaign, in fact, they'll start from France, Paris. From there, the crusade is going to spread. The campaign is going to spread, extend to Spain, Germany, Austria, and Belgium. Guys, it's going to be a powerful one. I think this time they are going to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because the plans that Kanu's legal team has, is not a small plan. So now, they said that they're going to, they selected five European countries carefully, and they said the movement will engage international institution, human rights organization, and civil society group. This is not just an awareness tour, guys. It is a call for global solidarity. The strategy is clear: to inform the international. See, I don't want to even talk much. Take a look at what Maxwell said, and we'll go to the next video. Take a look.
Paris now for arrived in Paris now for a crusade for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So from Paris, here, France, we moved to Spain, from Spain, we moved to Austria, from Austria, we moved to Germany, from Germany, we moved to Belgium. We should be campaigning, asking the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian judiciary to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. Unconditionally. That's what it is.
So guys, stay tuned. I will continue that video. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay to the end of this live session. I have a lot. Maxwell Okpara said a lot of things. Now, before we move on, let me just tell you the mission. Their mission. They said they want to start a crusade. That's why he's in Paris currently now, with other people. They went to Paris to start a social legal crusade that is going to extend, the campaign is going to extend to Spain, Germany, Austria, and Belgium. Guys, they carefully selected 5 European countries where the movement will engage international institutions, human rights organizations, and civil society group. So this is not just an awareness talk, it is a call for global solidarity. Now, this is actually very clear. The strategy is very clear to inform the international community and of the injustice and double standards employed by Nigerian government in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You guys will go ahead and negotiate with bandits, but you will not negotiate with Kanu. You will release bandits, but you will not release Kanu. Someone that have not done anything. So you can see the double standards. So it's to inform international community of the injustice and double standards employed by the Nigerian government in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And 2, the message is clear: to expose the illegalities of extraordinary retention from Kenya to Nigeria, and acts that violate both international law and Nigeria's own constitution. How can somebody be kidnapped? You kidnap somebody, instead of it to go for the kidnappers, go after people that kidnapped him. You went for the victim, the person that was kidnapped. Does it even make sense? What they did actually violated international laws, international treaties, even Nigeria's own institution. So why are they relaxed? Why are they relaxed? So that is why Maxwell Okpara and others are in Paris today. Now, guys, from the NBA, you guys know about the MBA program that was held in Enugu. So now from there, immediately he zoomed off to Paris, to fight for Kanu. Kanu cannot keep remaining there. He's not a slave. So another message they are sending, is to demand accountability for the torture and disregarding treatment Kanu suffered during his adoption and detention. Guys, Kanu suffered. Even terrorists don't suffer like this. They don't treat terrorists like this. So another message that, telling the world is, and ultimately, they want to push for sanction on all individuals, even government officials, directly and indirectly involved in this violation of human rights. So that is why Maxwell Okpara went to Paris with other team, to fight for Kanu's release. Maxwell Okpara emphasized that this time has come for the world to see through the hypocrisies of Nigerian government. It is time. Enough is enough. It is time for the world to see the hypocrisies of Nigerian government. And also, they said, why they parade themselves at global films as democracy. They will go and be preaching about democracy. Once Democracy Day come, Tinubu will come out and give his speech as a country practicing democracy, which is a lie. All the actions they have done, right from Buhari's regime, are all dictatorship, guys. So you can see, their actions reveals a regime that disregards the rule of law, ignores court order, and use force to silence political dissent. Now, take a look at the message of Maxwell Okpara before he went to Paris. He was live at the NBA conference, guys, that was held in Enugu, where he went to talk about Kanu's case. Now, take a look at his message before he went to France. Take a look, guys.
Sir, I really want to appreciate you for what you are doing in Enugu State. Unlike the disaster we are seeing in Imo State, you are doing very, very well. Coming to Enugu State, we don't need this thing for us to see what we are doing. In terms of infrastructural development, I speak in Enugu State. I know how Enugu State used to be. We are doing very, very well. And sir, yesterday, you told us we are doing the opening section that the judiciary are receiving their money as at Wednesday. I personally carried out investigation, and one of the judicial officers told me that they are not receiving their money as you claim. And I noticed it that one of their magistrates, who happens to be my friend, used a to court. They said that they don't have a car. And I was asking, how do they have their money and they don't even have a car? Secondly, sir, they are receiving from the Enugu State, I'm overweight now. Nobody's there. And the essence of that is injustice being suffered by the people of Southeast. So you are doing well. You are doing well. I can give it to you. Please, I want you to intensify effort. Let the Nnamdi be released so that we have peace. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is Leighton Izide from the Port Harcourt Bar. You have taken time here on your lifting up. Looks like I've taken time to read out so much of what you're doing in several sectors. Or as a friend, charity begins at home. I'm a bit concerned about the issue. I want to know, there are some governments that build houses for judges, buy cars for judges. Out of they take a little of what belongs to them and do all of these things for them. So I want you to tell your police what's the extent of financial autonomy of the new state judiciary. Thank you.
I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria. Just one little question. The governor. I come to Enugu very often. So I'm not a stranger at all to Enugu. But it will be difficult for me to deny that I have not seen some ground-breaking changes. To do that will even be sinful. I don't want to be a sinner. Now, the question I want to ask, based on this theme of transformational leadership, a theme I have written extensively on, how are you able, or have you been able, in a highly politicized environment, an environment that is shark infested by political buccaneers, in an environment where there is more politicking than governance? How have you been able to navigate through like Mongopa, who we are told discovered the river Niger at Kainji, even though he let the people there drink the water? How have you been able to?
Start with the first speaker. The first is on the issue of sit at home. When we came into government from 2 years ago, the situation we met on ground was one where everybody, whether you wanted or not, you were compelled to sit at home. And if you did not, it means that you're going to have a violent attack either on your property or on yourself. So that was the situation we met on ground. But I can tell you today, even in the Obete, we just made reference to, those who want to come to work, who want to trade on Monday, trade there in peace and in safety. And of course, you're a lawyer. You are not going to compel somebody who, due to his own, some political undertone or his political leaning, decides to stay at home. It is not my job to compel that person to come to work. But I can assure you for free that if you do want to come to work on Sunday and operate in a safe and secure environment, you are free to do so, and it happens, it's happening everywhere in Enugu. And today is Monday, you can, we don't need to, you can just do your survey and do your assessment. That's on that. For us, with the judiciary, given our background, we take the judiciary very seriously. Okay? We respect the autonomy of the judiciary. And everything that we do with the judiciary, we go through the budgetary process. And once those items are captured in our budget, we implement them to the latter. They actually get their funds from the state consolidated revenue funds. And that's what happens here. Okay, and they determine what they have budgeted. So if indeed there is issue of vehicles, they need to, of course, by now we have started the budget review committee is already set up. And the cost circulars have all gone out. So it's expected that all the various ministries, all the different arms of government will be able to bring in their budget, and it will be debated. Once those items are captured in the budget, they are then implemented from a frontline revenue position. And I think that addresses that. The next question was on, so I think he talked about the judicial, so we will address that. Nnamdi Kanu. Now, sir, I'm sure some of you followed my position about Nnamdi Kanu the lady I was sworn in. I guess my first visit to the president was the discussion on Nnamdi Kanu, and I came out and granted an interview about what I had just discussed with the president. So I still believe that the right thing to do is to release Nnamdi Kanu, and hopefully that will happen soon. Then again, we do not, just as I mentioned in my opening remarks, leadership is not rocket science. First of all, it starts with.
So guys, that was what happened in the NBA conference. You saw Maxwell Okpara, he was right there, standing for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In fact, when they saw him there, everybody would just be like, this man has come, because that's his only mission. Why he was at NBA was, okay, fine, it was a lawyers conference, but his major aim was to talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which he did. He passed that message to the lawyers saying that, Kanu should be released, so that peace will reign. And then after that, guys, I think that conference, it ended yesterday. Was it today? I think it ended yesterday. And then Maxwell Okpara is already in Paris. This same man that was seen yesterday at the conference is already in Paris. Let me just show you that video. In case you have not seen that video, take a look at when Maxwell Okpara arrived Paris, talking about the plans they have for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu here, how they will go about it. Take a look.
Arrived Paris now for a crusade for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So from Paris here, France, we move to Spain, from Spain, we move to Austria, from Austria, we move to Germany, from Germany, we move to Belgium, which is campaigning, asking the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian judiciary to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. That's what it is.
Yes, 5 European countries, they carefully selected 5 European countries for this campaign. They mentioned Spain, he mentioned Germany, he mentioned Austria, he mentioned Belgium. Guys, Belgium, that is where they want to campaign for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Did not mince word. Now, his major aim is to inform the international communities of the injustice and double standards employed by the Nigerian government in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that has not done anything, and then also to expose the illegality of his extraordinary redemption from Kenya to Nigeria. One point that makes Nigerian governments weakens them, but they don't want to. It makes them wrong, but they don't want to admit that they are wrong by doing this. Now they want to go. Maxwell Okpara is there in Paris to expose the illegality of his extraordinary redemption, which Aloye Jimako took to court in Enugu. And then he won. Kanu won. But still, after everything, this same man is still in detention. So they want to expose the illegalities of his extraordinary redemption from Kenya to Nigeria, an act that violates both international law and Nigeria's own constitution. Also to demand accountability for the torture, disregarding treatment Kanu suffered during his adoption and detention, and ultimately to push for sanction on all individuals and government officials directly or indirectly involved in this violation of his human rights. So Maxwell Okpara emphasized that the time has come for the world to see through the hypocrisies of Nigeria's government. Why they parade themselves as action, they parade themselves as a global film, as a democracy. Their action reveals a regime that disregards the rule of law, ignores court order, and use force to silence political dissent. Guys, this movement is therefore designed to elevate Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case from a regional or national issue to a global human rights struggle, one that concerns not just the Igbo people alone, not just Nigerians, but humanity at large. So now, as Okpara stated, he said this advocacy will not stop in Paris. He said after France, the team will move to Malaga, Spain, and from there to Germany, Austria, and Belgium. Guys, each stop will serve as a rallying point to mobilize the diaspora, engage European lawmakers, and build pressure on the Nigerian government to either respect its law or face diplomatic consequences. Guys, I can remember in Kanu's last court section, and lawyer Jimako, the lawyer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, mentions, he said that if on the 10th of October they don't release Kanu, that they will start their defense. He said since Kanu started coming to court, or since his trial started, he said they have not started any defense. That this time around, they'll start defense. They'll start bringing international witnesses to come and testify, to come and prove Kanu's innocence. That is it. To come and prove Kanu's innocence. So I believe that is why, Maxwell Okpara and other legal team had to make this movement to, fight for Kanu's release. So according to Maxwell Okpara, he said that each stop will serve as a rallying point to mobilize the diaspora, engage European lawmakers, and build pressure on the Nigerian government to either respect its law or face diplomatic consequences. This is exactly what they are supposed to do since if you keep on this thing they are doing, Kanu will petition NJC or to change judge. It will not help. Look at Binta Nyoko has stepped down. Omotochi has continued the game. So no matter how they change these judges, what they already know how it will end. They know that it's just political games. They will just play with Kanu's case. So this is a critical turning point in the fight for justice. What Maxwell Okpara and his team are doing is a reminder that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the unlawful detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not just about one man; it's about the dignity of a people, the of the law as well, and the global demand for accountability. So now, as this international crusade takes off from Paris and spread across Europe, the world will be watching, and the question remains: will Nigeria choose justice, or will it continue down the dangerous path of impunity? Very soon they'll start campaigning, guys. I can't wait. I can't wait them to campaign for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let's see if Nigeria will choose justice, or will they still continue the dangerous path of impunity. So guys, stay tuned. I have a lot to tell you guys. So now, let me just tell you that justice for one is justice for all, and the world must rise. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is all we are saying. So now, let me know your thoughts under the comment section. Drop what you think under the comment section. Now, the NBA let's talk about the NBA, the Enugu NBA conference. It's also significant because this is the first time in years Nigerian lawyers gathered in the East. The first time in years in the heartland of the struggle. The call for, the call to lawyers wasn't random. Lawyers are ministers in the temple of justice and have a duty not only to defend the law in the courtrooms, but also to confront injustice in society. So Okpara's speech there was meant to remind them that silence in the face of oppression is complicit. So now, for years, Nigeria has ignored both local court orders and international ruling demanding Kanu's release. So the Nigerian Court of Appeal had already discharged and acquitted him. Yet, Kanu remains unlawfully detained. Internationalizing the campaign forces Nigeria is to face scrutiny before the global community, where cover-ups and propaganda cannot easily prevail. So now they feel that cover-up will prevail in Europe and all of that. That is why they choose carefully 5 European countries, these countries that cover-up and propaganda will not easily prevail. That is why they chose these 5 European countries. So let's just know that Kanu's adoption in 2021 was not just illegal. It was an act of state terrorism carried out across borders. No due process, no extradition hearing. He was bundled from Kenya and flew into Nigeria against all laws. This act violated the United Nations Convention Against Torture, the African Chapter on Human Rights and People's Rights, and even Nigeria's own constitution. So you can see now, I'm going to play a video. Guys, stay tuned. Like I said, stay to the end of this live section. Like, I have a lot to show you guys. Just stay tuned. So now, I'm going to play a video where Kanu's lawyer clearly broke down everything, exposed how they kept, how they bundled Kanu, put him in Kenya, put him in but how they bundled him. In fact, well, let's say they kidnapped him. He came out of his car, then they kidnapped him, put him in a vehicle, and drove down to an unknown location in Nairobi, Kenya. Guys, and then from there they kept him. I don't want to just talk much. Just listen carefully and watch what this lawyer said. He explained everything. Now, take a look at this video.
So today I'm wearing two hats. I'm speaking on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm also speaking on my own behalf. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm the special counsel to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra. And I'm speaking to you from a location in Nigeria. The man, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is well known. He's everywhere. He's on Wikipedia. He's an internationally acclaimed freedom fighter. But there's just a few things I need to tell you about him. What brought him to limelight was the formation of the indigenous people of Biafra in the United Kingdom in 2012. Simultaneously, he also founded Radio Biafra. And these two organizations were aimed at one thing: liberation for the people of Biafra, or restoration of the former Republic of Biafra that went defunct in 1970. The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law. Not laws of United Kingdom, not international law, not Nigerian law. But guess what? When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was born in Nigeria, but who acquired British citizenship later on, came to Nigeria in October 2015, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which had come to power in May, decided to arrest him. He was not arrested between 2012 and 2015 because the government of the day at that time understood that self-determination is not a crime. But the government that came into power in 2015 in May decided that self-determination is going to be treated as a criminal activity. So he was arrested in Lagos. He was charged for treason, also for insulting the president and illegal importation of radio equipment. 3 charges. The treason one, they split it into 2, treason by himself and treason by conspiracy. This thing went on from 2015 until April 2017, when he was eventually granted bail. So he was detained for nearly 18 months. After granting him bail, he returned to his ancestral home in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he was enjoying his bail when suddenly, between 10 September and 14 September 2017, the Nigerian army, without any justification whatsoever, levied lethal, massive military operations against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home. That day, he was sitting at home with so many people, his family members, including his 2 elderly parents. The attack was lightning, it was a bleakridge, it was massive, and it was not the type of an attack you will expect a national military force to levy on a civilian location. But they did. At the end of the day, 28 people lost their lives. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu sustained injuries. His parents sustained injuries as well. But somehow, by the grace of God, they all managed to escape. From there, the rest is history. And because there was a national and international manhunt for him by the security forces, which rules of engagement was to shoot, not to maim. If you see Nnamdi Kanu, if you encounter him anywhere, shoot not to maim. Not to maim, but shoot to kill. That's what they went there to do on 10 September, but they didn't succeed. But it went on. They went on in a manhunt. So Nnamdi Kanu was forced to flee the municipal boundaries of Nigeria in search of safe haven overseas. Eventually, in May 2021, he settled in Kenya. He entered Nairobi and settled in Kenya somewhere. He never knew that Nigerian security forces, the international branch of it, were laying in wait for him. They led an ambush for him. So on 19th June 2021, he drove himself to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a personal errand. As soon as he drove into the parking lot and alighted from his vehicle, several well-armed security men suspected to be of a mixture of Nigerian and Kenyan security forces swooped on him, grabbed him, abducted him, and put him forcibly in a vehicle and drove away. Well, they didn't take him to the police station. They didn't take him to immigration because he was a foreigner. He should have been taken to immigration. They didn't take him to any official law enforcement facility. They took him to a secret location in Nairobi, a non-official secret location. So in effect, they disappeared him. And they kept him at that secret location for a whole 8 days. And those 8 days he endured horrendous torture. All these are matters of record between the various tribunals and courts before whom this matter has been brought. I cannot begin to give you all the details. Horrendous torture in violation of basic human rights, in violation of the laws of Kenya, Nigeria, and the international community. When Nnamdi Kanu was abducted on 19th June 2021, the proper thing that should have been done is to take him to a police station, from there to a court. And then if you wanted him back in Nigeria, you subject him to what is called extradition proceedings. This is a basic tenet of the law that you see in the laws of any nation. Kenya has an extradition act to which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should have been subjected. But guess what? They didn't do that. They rather disappeared him for 8 days, tortured him to their heart's content. And on 27th June, they secretly brought him out from this location and took him through the back doors, evading Kenyan immigration, direct to the tarmac of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi, where a private plane was waiting. They bundled him into the plane, chained him to the chair, and everything. He endured 5-6 hours flight from Nairobi to Kenya in the most excruciating circumstances. They arrived in Nigeria late in the evening and the plane flew back to Nairobi. They took him to the headquarters of the National Intelligence Agency in Abuja, where he spent the first night with all the lights left on to assure his maximum discomfort. The following day, they transferred him to the headquarters of Directorate of State Security in Abuja. And on the third day, they brought him before the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Federal High Court was well aware that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has counsel of record It was an open case, it wasn't a new case, a pre-existing case. But the Federal High Court decided to conduct the arraignment in violation of his constitutional right to counsel, and that arraignment led to the indefinite detention with which we are struggling today. Anyways, taking you back a few steps, the little military invasion of 2017 was not unrequited, judicially speaking. I took the matter before two tribunals, or a tribunal and a court. First, I took it to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which rendered a decision in March 2018 condemning the action and calling it a violation of the African Charter. And they wrote to the President of Nigeria, they wrote a letter to the President of Nigeria requesting him or directing him. They used diplomatic language, but the decision was there that what you did is wrong, so you need to roll it back. You need to reverse everything you have done, which includes declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and hounding their members as criminals. The African Commission held that what Nigerian government was doing was persecution, not prosecution. That the IPOB and its members simply possess an inconvenient political opinion which the Nigerian government was seeking to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. And they asked or directed Nigerian government to reverse itself. Nigerian government never did. Rather, it escalated. Well, subsequently, I went to a local court, a high court in Abia State in eastern Nigeria. I sued the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Army, and other parties who were confederates in that attack of September 2017. And in January 2022, fortunately for us, we won. The High Court made an order. The High Court reached a judgment that what happened to Nnamdi Kanu in September 2017 was a flagrant violation of his constitutional right to life and constitutional right to his privacy. And the court proceeded to make an order ordering the federal government of Nigeria, or Federal Republic of Nigeria, to pay him a compensation of 1 billion Nigerian naira, which is over $1 million US. The court also ordered the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President of Nigeria to issue a public apology to be published in 3 national Nigerian newspapers to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. None of this has happened. So we kept that aside. So when they brought Mazi Nnamdi Kanu forcibly from Kenya without extradition proceedings, I characterized it an act of extraordinary rendition. Initially, there was a misunderstanding, a broad, widespread misunderstanding by vast majorities of Nigerians who were mouthing the cliche, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu extradited from Kenya. No, that was wrong. It wasn't. I told people it wasn't. It was extraordinarily renditioned or rendered, and that is against international law, Kenyan law, and laws of the Federation of Nigeria. So while his criminal trial was making its way slowly at Abuja, with all the several amendments the government was bringing, they walked away from treasonable felony, insulting the president, importation of radio equipment, and bam, to terrorism. That's how it happened. And they did this 7 times. 7 amendments. If Nnamdi Kanu was guilty, why is it taking so long to bring him to trial between 2015 and today? That is 8 years. So what he's undergoing is not really a judicial trial. It's a trial by ordeal. Trial by fire. Imprisonment before conviction. They just want to get as many years of jail time out of him as possible, because they know that with the evidence available, conviction will be impossible. And that was made worse by the extraordinary rendition, which I took also as a civil violation to a federal high court in Nigeria. And in October 2022, the federal high court came down with a judgment that extraordinary rendition was a violation of his constitutional rights, his fundamental rights, and they awarded him 500 million Nigerian naira. That's about $800,000. So all around, everywhere that this matter has gone to, including in July 2022, before the Human Rights Council at the United Nations, the Human Rights Council, United Nations, came down with an opinion that what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and that brought him to Nigeria is a very grave violation of international law. And they directed that he should be released unconditionally. And of course, the Court of Appeal in Nigeria did come down with a similar judgment in same October 2022, discharging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and bearing any further trial of his person in any court in Nigeria as a consequence, as a direct consequence of the extraordinary rendition. So what more can you ask for a man to deserve his freedom? How many have I counted? United Nations, which in this case should be considered a world court. Then you have the Nigerian Court of Appeal, which is the second highest court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then you have the Federal High Court, which is the court of first instance at the federal level. And of course, you have the State High Court that awarded him 1 billion Nigerian naira. So between 2015 and today, 8 years and running, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has snagged 4 major victories against the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with Federal Republic of Nigeria winning nothing. What more do you need as stark evidence, affirmative evidence that what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of persecution, not prosecution? It's time to end it. On his behalf, I will ask all men and women of goodwill everywhere in the world to speak up. There was this saying about Jews. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing. When they came for the Jew, you said nothing because you're a trade unionist. Then when they came for the trade unionist, you say, well, I'm a scientist. You said nothing. They took the Jew, they took the trade unionist, and then when they came for the scientists, nobody spoke for you. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a poster boy for all the injustices that a great race, the Igbo people, and their cousins in the former eastern Nigeria have been subjected to since the founding of Nigeria. These injustices became more public because since 2015 they have been escalated. So how do you fight back? You fight back by telling the system, I want out. I want my own country is not a crime. It does not require a bullet. It doesn't require muscular military law enforcement. What it requires is sitting across the table and talking about it. A lot of nations have been founded on referendum. That's what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the indigenous people of Biafra were asking for. That led to all this conundrum, to all this saga.
So guys, you can see this lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, explained in details how Kanu was adopted. Kanu's adoption was in 2021. It was not just illegal. It was an act of state terrorism carried out across borders. Guys, no due process, no extradition hearing. They would have, according to the lawyer, they would have subjected Kanu to, an extradition hearing, but nothing. No due process, just went through back doors. They bonded him from Kenya and flew into Nigeria against all laws. This act alone violated the United Nations Convention Against Torture and the African Chapter on Human and People's Rights and even Nigeria's own constitution. So you see why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, went to Paris for the campaign, so that they will be aware of the violation of how Nigerian government violated their law, how they treated Kanu, how they tortured him. They kept him in a room for 8 days in Kenya on unknown location. Kept him for 8 days, tortured him. So that was why Kanu's lawyers had to and went to Paris. I don't know if you have seen that video, but I'll play that video towards the end. Guys, you will see, what Maxwell Okpara, he was in Paris and he talked about his mission here in Paris. They said from Paris they'll move to Belgium, but they will also move to Austria and different European countries. So now reports actually indicate Kanu was tortured, he was chained like a terrorist and subjected to degrading treatment during and after his adoption. These are grave crimes under international law. They are not petty crimes. These are grave crimes under international law for which those responsible should be tried at the ICC. By demanding sanction, Okpara is essentially saying if Nigeria cannot hold its officials accountable, the world must. That is why they have taken this matter outside. Because the Nigerian government is not giving them what they want, even after telling Bintanyaka to recuse herself from Kanu's case. Omotosho came in thinking that he would do better. But he's doing the same thing. Why armed bandits and terrorists are being negotiated with? Pamper itself. They pamper them. They even granted amnesty. A political prisoner like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is treated as a criminal. This exposes the hypocrisy in Nigerians' security policy. Pamper the real threats. Persecute dissenting voices. That is just it. The campaign they want to start is not only about government. It's about people. By touring Paris, Spain, Germany, Austria, and Belgium, guys, the team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will rally the Igbo and African diaspora to raise with one voice. Diaspora communities hold influence, they lobby European Parliament, engage the media, and shape international perceptions. Sanction as a tool of justice, sanction could include travel bans, asset freeze, just like Canadian this thing now has said that was that APC and PDP are criminals, are terrorists, just like they revealed. Now they know what Kanu has been shouting all this time. So in fact, Falana even warned that they might start travel bans on these politicians, all these PDP members, and all of them. So you see, what the Maxwell is what he went to do in Paris, might lead to sanction and to include travel bans, assets freeze, and then restriction on Nigerian officials implicated in human rights violation. Just as Russia faced sanction over Ukraine, Nigerians leaders must face sanction for extraordinary detention and unlawful detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The message is simple, even for an illiterate to get. Human rights violation carries consequences, no matter who you are. So Paris is symbolic because France historically played a double role during the Biafran War. First sympathizing with Biafran cause, but later retreating under international pressure. Launching the movement in Paris rekindles that historical memory, reminding France and Europe of unfinished justice. If Nigeria succeeds in normalizing extraordinary detention and indefinite detention, no activist, journalist, or dissenter is safe in this country. This is why the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not just about one man, but about setting a precedent for human rights in Africa. Okpara's voice represents not just a lawyer's opinion, but the collective cry of millions of oppressed voices. This crusade is the beginning of a new phase, which we believe from national agitation to international accountability. That is just it. So Nigerian court has ruled multiple times that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released, including the 2022 Court of Appeal judgments. By ignoring its own judiciary, the Nigerian government undermines the very foundation of constitutional democracy. Lawyers have a duty not just to argue in court, but to defend the judicial pronouncement. The abduction from Kenya contravenes international extradition protocols. Kenya also has questions to answer. They have questions to answer for allowing its sovereignty to be violated. This must be raised in global frames as well. So Nigeria is signatory to many international treaties, but violates them with impunity. It exposes its hypocrisy now. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's health has reportedly deteriorated due to prolonged detention and denial of adequate medical care. Did they even think that Kanu is a chicken or what? That you keep in detention for so long? So you can see, international bodies like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch should be pressed to intervene urgently or humanitarian grounds. On humanitarian grounds, other groups in Nigeria has agitated violently, yet the leader were pardoned and reintegrated. They focus on IPOB, and they don't even focus on IPOB, and kind of suggest a deliberate targeting of the Igbos. Now, to continue this civil war policy of marginalization against the nation. Every day Kanu remains in detention is another day Nigeria's global reputation suffers. International investors, diplomats and human rights institutions see a country that refuses to obey its own law. These dangers, Nigeria is standing as a supposed democracy. Imagine the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not isolated. It fits into long history of political persecution of dissenting voices. You guys remember Ken Saro-Wiwa, even journalist activist in the past. This shows that Nigeria's deep state is hostile to freedom of speech and political self-determination. Now, take a look at the video where Maxwell Okpara, lawyer of Kanu, was in Paris talking about a lot about their movement and all of that. Take a look.
Paris now for the crusade for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So from Paris, here, France, we move to Spain, from Spain, we move to Austria, from Austria, we move to Germany, from Germany, we move to Belgium. We should be campaigning, asking the federal government of Nigeria and the Nigerian judiciary to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. That's my policy.
So, guys, you heard what he said. They will start the campaign to spread. They're in Paris. After Paris, they will go to Belgium. They will go to Austria and other five European country. Now, to get this full gist of Maxwell Okpara, how he has been fighting for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he made the one statement. He said Nigerian governments negotiate with bandits while they left someone that did not do anything. And if you even check, why don't you address the root cause of the agitation? Why don't you guys just left Igbo land just like that? Even after the Biafran war and everything, you guys left Igbo people just like that. Guys, take a look at this video to get the full gist.
When the president calm down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu. Because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution and the law.
Well, the government's angle is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate. But they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
What of the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something, then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries, America and Europe. So you are not saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, you know, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, they wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, check since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
Are you sure Max, are you sure you're not? I mean, it's just like what I said too. I mean, isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you saying that there's
the chief of naval staff is from the Southeast?
Huh?
The chief of naval staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position.
So
number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position. We have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it, asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular government is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And they are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Handele and they are now brought in Bianca Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about. Check, let me start with the source. In football, the people that have made Nigeria proud are the people of Southeast. In commerce, in aviation industry, name it. In academics, they are from people of Southeast. But when it comes to power, they are not qualified. And we want them to be happy. Listen, let me tell you, like today that is Monday, go to Southeast. And my annoyance is that these things are avoidable for Christ's sake. They won at Nnamdi. They listen to the Kanu. Let us start addressing this issue. This early morning, somebody sent me a clip, something they posted. That they said I think they said next week, or the next 2 weeks, that there will be nothing like federal courts in the whole of Southeast. What do I mean by federal courts? Federal courts, National Industrial Court is a federal court. Federal High Court is a federal court. Court of Appeal is a federal court. Now, the judges that are there, most of them are not Igbos. Majority of them are not Igbos. How should you risk somebody to go and preside in the Court of Appeal over the judicial division, Oka Judicial Division, Enugu Judicial Division? How can you appoint somebody to go and preside in Federal High Court in the Southeast, National Industrial Court in the Southeast? And we are not even thinking about all this. And the judges are not even thinking about, So the point we are talking about is that when there is a problem, look for a solution. Personally, somebody like us, we're not even, I'm defending Nnamdi Kanu, one of his lawyers. So when they say so you people are not doing what you're supposed to do, the person that is calling you, don't even know him. He's using a hidden number to call you. You don't even know what they're talking about court. The only thing that we went to court and we were unable to bring Nnamdi Kanu out. They're not even safe.
Okay, Maxwell, let me ask you this, because from what you're saying, I've also heard IPOB many times deny, allegations of being involved in some of the killings that happened in the Southeast and some of the, the ills that we see in the society. Even the sit-at-home in question, IPOB has also claimed that he has not asked anybody to sit at home. Get my point. So the point I'm making is that from what you're saying, it would look as if what you're actually trying to say is that it's because Nnamdi is being held,
yes,
that is why the ills in the society in the Southeast has escalated. Does it have anything to do with him? That is what you're saying?
Do you know why? Nnamdi Kanu
IPOB is his initiative. He established it, he organized it. Now, when you now kidnapped him or abducted him, and unlawfully, because the Supreme Court have said that he was unlawfully brought into this country, and you kept him incommunicado, everybody on his own. This one we kill, you said at IPOB. This one we maim, he said at IPOB. Everybody on his own. That's why I asked you the question, who is IPOB? The IPOB you know is Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu, if Nnamdi Kanu is out, you will know who is who. Simon Ekpa will talk his own, Emma Powerful will talk his own, this one will talk his own, this one. Who is IPOB? That you are even talking. Simon Ekpa is in Finland. Emma Powerful, I don't know where he's operating from. Another person is operating from somewhere. Issuing threats, just like the one somebody told me. I don't even know where that one is coming from. So the easiest way to do is the one that you know, Nnamdi Kanu. Then tell Attorney General, as he discontinue the charges against the president of Mieti Ala Kato, discontinue that of Showore, they are all terrorism. Tell them to discontinue that of Nnamdi Kanu, and allow Nnamdi Kanu to agitate. It is his right. I told you the other day.
You see, that's where the problem is, really. The guarantee, that there will not be problems, even if Nnamdi Kanu is, because you're saying allow him to agitate, and he goes about it the way he used to, like, the government have actually feared. That may also create more problems, don't you think?
Let me tell you, there are some things that you asked me the other day whether they are talking about condition giving Nnamdi Kanu. I told you one question. I say, if you give Nnamdi Kanu condition that he feel after meeting up that condition, he will still live like a human being, so be it. But when you give him condition and you are removing that made him a human being, he will tell you no. What is that made you a human being? That thing that makes you a human being is your ability to exercise your fundamental rights. And when somebody said, now I'm going to employ you here, I will be paying you $500,000 every month, but you will not talk, you will not move out, you say, do away with your job. When somebody said, I'm going to release you, but I'll cut one of their hands, say no. The agitation for self-determination is a fundamental right. And if you people fail to understand it, I can agitate that I need the Republic of Maxwell. Yeah. It is my right. Anybody can agitate. I don't even need crowd to follow me. It is when you now feel that you have gotten the necessary need the necessary qualities, then so be it. It is now left for the president, who believe in democracy, who believe in government of the people by the people, to apply an initiative. What is the initiative? Release the person, start addressing all those issues that gave rise to this agitation. It has been there. Uwazirike was agitating during Obasanjo. A lot of people were agitating. So now that you have arrested, you come down Uwazirike that time, Nnamdi Kanu came up. Now that you have arrested Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa is there. I think this data from Ned Nwoko was telling you that even if you arrest Simon Ekpa today, another Simon Ekpa will come out. So the issue there is that address all those issues.
Right. So for you, it's not about ministerial appointment.
No. That one. Okay, that is a complete distraction. That should even come in. Okay. After in now, let Bianca come and address the Igbos in Enugu.
All right.
So guys, you have heard what Maxwell Okpara said. So the main thing is not even arresting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or going after Simeon Ekpa. That's not the best thing. The best thing is to first address the root cause of the agitation. Something made Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to start agitating. And that's because of the Igbos are being marginalized. The Igbos are being treated like last class citizens. See, just like he said, Uwazirike was agitating. They went after him. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu came up. They went after him. Simeon Ekpa, they went after him. Even if, you can silence a man, but you cannot silence the spirit of Biafra. You see this movement, even many people are saying it, this is a spirit. When Ojukwu died, if Biafra was not a spirit, he would have died. You will not hear anybody talk about Biafra, but Kanu came up, other people came up. So even if they silence Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today, it will not stop people from agitating. Another person bigger than Kanu, wiser than Kanu, will still come up. So how long would they? Is this what they will keep doing? Is this how they will keep? This is how they will be doing. Why don't you release this man and then talk about the root cause and, let everyone stay peacefully? Maxwell said, release Kanu so that peace will reign. So guys, you can see what's transpired. So now, this move by Maxwell Okpara in Paris is going to expose Nigerian security state. I remember when DSS, when appeal courts released Matt, acquitted him, discharged and acquitted him, DSS refused to comply. So now, this move, is going to expose how Nigerian security agency operates outside the law. They have been on, unaccounted institutions, answerable to no one. They don't even obey the law. Even Kanu's second home, Britain, is expected to protect its citizens. London's silence makes it complicit in Nigerians' abuse. So we can't even wait for the campaign to start. Kanu's detention is going to resonate with indigenous groups globally, from Spain down to the Middle East. His freedom is part of a larger global struggle for indigenous rights. Not all Nigerian politicians agree on Kanu's detention. Some fear his release will empower him, while others see his continued detention as a destabilizer. So I guess I cannot wait for the outcome of the campaign. Once the campaign starts, we'll still come and notify you guys how it's going. So guys, thank you for staying with me in this live section, and I'll see you guys next time. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any breaking news. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.